Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. There is no second best live YouTube stream to talk about the markets. Welcome back, guys. Hard to believe we're already halfway through the week and halfway through October. It's certainly been an interesting month of price action thus far. I know we're all kind of waiting to see how Q4 is eventually going to end up shaping up. Lower time frame, got some stuff to talk about as always. Will it be a wonderful Wednesday, or will crypto continue to lag behind equities? Well, welcome, guys. I'm Snorlax. You also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Max, Tucker, Chef Jackus. We have a guest on from X today, Nerdmon. So y'all welcome him today. We're gonna let him cook for you guys. And yeah, we're going to have a great show for you all today. But before we can do that, before we can, I think, get too deep into the charts, too deep into the markets, too deep into the market commentary, I'm going to need you guys to hit that like button, right? We're not asking for too much. Just scroll that mouse over, smash the like button so we don't have to pester you for it later on this show. It's been a while since we've talked about soybeans, but given that there was a headline that kind of related to soybeans and cooking oil, maybe you guys are not immune to possibly seeing soybeans on later on today's stream. But regardless, as far as the market goes, I mean, it's kind of been par for the course, right? For us to have these shows and for equities to be green and showing strength and resilience, while crypto has, kind of been red, right? Bitcoin and ETH are down a few percent on the day. Beta is kind of lagging. I mean, it makes sense in a way because we did have such a large wipeout. It's kind of hard to expect a V recovery. Could it still happen? Sure. I think we're at this point, like 3 or 4 days removed from the wipeout. So we're still kind of, I think, waiting for this range to set on Bitcoin and really a lot of these altcoins. But right now, equities are painting a very favorable picture, right? At least for their market. IWM ripped to new all-time highs today. You have the S&P and the NASDAQ up about 1% today. Will this VIX crush continue, right? Will the dollar continue to come down? These are both things that have been kind of putting pressure on equity markets for, kind of the week that preceded what we saw happen in crypto. So if those things are getting resolved, you have to view that as ultimately favorable for crypto in Q4, right? But I know we're all kind of wondering, all right, is this a scam dump before we see a reversal? Wonderful Wednesday, as some ex commenters have so appropriately coined it. But yeah, guys, I mean, what are we thinking about the markets here? Obviously, it seems like crypto is still kind of figuring out what it wants to do in the wake of Friday's wipeout. Equities did not suffer from as large of a market structure break, so maybe they're a bit more free to run. What do we think about this week's worth of price action? I think we had Jerome Powell speak yesterday. Any thoughts on that, as well as really the next few weeks?
Well, in typical fashion, stocks are ripping. Crypto is welcoming everybody to poverty land once again. Seems to be a theme all too common. It seems to be just kind of a cursed asset class sometimes. But I will say this, I think a lot of people, and for good reason, can be a little bit impatient about these rotations where it's like when you have Bitcoin miners ripping and US small caps are ripping, the VIX is set up to probably retrace the entire spike that it just recently had, and just vol sellers are going to probably continue to just hammer the thing. The markets really are set up for a lot higher, and I think people will mistakenly conflate one day to 2 weeks of frustrating price action with broken correlation or something higher time frame. And I get it. Like, I'm mostly crypto. I certainly don't enjoy watching US small caps and boomers get rich every single day, and crypto just can't get off the mat. But I think what we've seen time and time again is, like, we'll notice these kind of small leads and lags. Like, I remember back in October of last year, we were watching MicroStrategy ripping to new highs, and Bitcoin was still range bound. And then Bitcoin obviously found some legs pretty quickly. So I'm really not too worried about it, but I would certainly like to see crypto hold here. I think it's a pretty important level. But, I think if ETH can venture its way back up a couple hundred points over the next week or so, things can start to look really good. I think if Sol can get back above 210, it starts to look really good. But just kind of a result of a major dump and cascade that we had for crypto. Sometimes these things can take a little bit longer than we like for it to sort out, But I spent quite a bit of time this morning with our Discord talking about what typically happens after US small caps break into price discovery definitively. And as far as I can tell today, they have stuck the landing unless we weekly SFP, the all-time high, which doesn't look like it's going to as of right now. I think it's just a matter of weeks, days or weeks before, you start to see crypto recover and follow suit. At least that's what we've been watching closely for years now, is that relationship between US small caps and crypto. And it would be very, very atypical to see US small caps moving higher in price discovery and crypto not follow suit at all. So anyways, I guess kind of opening thoughts is like, disappointing day in crypto, I guess. But I think that the backdrop, not to be a macro LARPer, I think that the backdrop with a dovish Fed, more rate cuts being priced in, US small caps moving hard like they're accepting that information. I think it really should just be a matter of time before we see, the classic crypto rotation that we've seen every other cycle. But I guess it's always possible that this time is different, right? Maybe we'll talk about that today. But yeah, those are kind of my opening thoughts, I guess.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, I think you're right. Like, if we're gonna macro LARP a little bit, not a ton, just a little bit. I think I think there's nothing bearish from a macro sense, right? Anything bearish is either chart related or I guess really just technical. Like, I don't really think anything the Fed's doing is inherently bearish. I don't love that the reverse repo market needs to be refilled. That's really the only thing that I don't like. But I mean, on the precipice of rate cuts, continued rate cuts, and Powell saying he's going to end QT yesterday, essentially over the next few months. I mean, with what the equity market's doing in context with the Fed, I don't see why, from a big picture, we shouldn't move higher. But again, that doesn't exclude events like Friday, right? But I think it's more a zoom out type of situation. But I mean, there's some levels. Like, I'll let you guys know right now, there are some levels that if we were to lose, I would be out. I would absolutely be out in the short term. And we're pretty darn close to them. We're pretty darn close. So that would be unfortunate. Not out, but just I would be very cautious if we were to lose, this whole block right here, basically. So, because I think you would probably teleport down here on Bitcoin, and I think altcoins would have a really, really hard time, and that would not be fun to stick around for this move. So, it's kind of a nice long with invalidation at this point. Like, you can have, I mean, I wouldn't really put it all the way down at the wick, but I think there's a decent little setup potentially.
One thing that I find still crazy is that there are some people who think that BTC can go sub like 100K and be okay. They're like, yeah, I'll buy Bitcoin at 90K. I'm like, yes, but you'll get it to buy at 70K or 60.
You don't want to buy Bitcoin down there.
Yeah,
it's like one of those levels where people are going to try to be a hero and just get wrecked.
Yeah, it's gonna be like buying Luna at minus 50% discount while it goes minus 99.99%. So, something like that. Maybe not exactly like that, but obviously, you'll get to buy way lower.
All right, so we do have a guest joining us today. He's a mutual of mine on X. He posts some great chart setups. He's also an indicator geek like myself.
Yeah.
Likes to make a lot of his own indicators. So Nerdmond, he told us we
Hey.
could call him Nerd before the show. I don't know, maybe we'll call him Nerd or Nerdmond. Nerdmond, like Nerd sounds really aggressive, like I'm insulting him, but like Nerdmond sounds like a name. So I guess we'll have to kind of figure out how to handle that. But Nerdmond, welcome to the show, man. Would love if you could just give a quick intro on yourself. Like, who are you? What are you interested in? What do you specialize in?
Cool.
Tell us everything, man.
Yeah. So first off, thank you for having me on the show. As I said, it's a bit surreal. Watch you guys, learned a lot from you guys in the early days. I only actually started to chart probably in the last 18 months. Basically was watching Max's charts and I was like, they look pretty clean. I'd quite like to emulate that. And then I just kind of went in with ChatGPT and loads of online study. I actually have got your BB course as well. I did that in the early days as well. And now, to be fair, I think I know what I'm doing, which is nice. So yeah, I have a Discord as well, Printworks, which started from a WhatsApp group with 7 of my closest friends in 2017. I ended up catching the end of that cycle. Wasn't included, wasn't involved at all, just kind of just literally saw everyone making money and I was like, hey, what's this? Last cycle did the standard, paid my tuition and round tripped all of my bags. And then this time I said, you know what, I'm not going to do that again. I'm going to learn how things actually work, how to read a chart, how to mark out levels, how to actually understand what's going on a macro, as well as kind of like the day-to-day stuff. And yeah, it's been going pretty well. In terms of what I think is happening in the market, pretty much the same as you guys, really. I think obviously Friday was absolutely crazy, right? I don't think anybody kind of expected that, excuse me. And basically, I think we're just chopping for a bit. I don't think that we're necessarily going massively lower. I think we're just going to chop and then we're going to go up. There's one thing that I've been looking at quite closely. Obviously, gold has been absolutely ripping. First off, Jackus, thank you very much for all of your commentary on that. 1 second. Your commentary on gold and metals and stuff like that, that really opened my eyes up and I was looking for that. But I've really been looking at the gold BTC chart because we're coming up to a level. I don't know if it's there. 1 second. We're coming up to a level on it, if it wants to show it here, that I had marked up from quite a while ago. And I'm kind of expecting a bounce from this at some point. I'll kind of go through my indicators. Max knows already that I kind of copied his RSI chart metrics table from a while ago. I've got a few other bits on here as well. But the way gold is ripping, obviously there's a rotation that goes into Bitcoin straight from gold. And I definitely think that we're going to bounce at some point. Obviously, Powell kind of said about the QE yesterday, and therefore I'm a bit like, you know, I don't necessarily think that we have to go down much more, especially when we had, sorry guys, I had so many alerts going, especially when we had such an aggressive move on Friday as well. So I'm hoping that we kind of get a bounce out of here and then move up. But again, it's kind of, the problem with this space is that it's all to do with manipulation, right? So as everyone found out on Friday, there were people that had, you know, massive long positions. And some people actually got liquidated when they have a 1 or a 2x, which I think is crazy, right? Because that's air quotes safe in this space, but it just kind of wiped everybody out. So I think we kind of reset the board a little bit and hopefully we're ready to go back up. But I'm interested to see what you guys are thinking about that as well. I do a lot of order block trading. And obviously, as you can see, this is the perps chart, but as you can see, we literally came down and just wicked this. And for me personally, this is the level that I wanted to see get touched before we moved higher. Everybody was kind of screaming like, you know, 130, 130. And I was thinking, I don't know, this looks very distributive to me. I managed to short a lot of this position on publicly on X as well, but you know, I just wanted to see this get taken, and now it's kind of been taken around here. I'm a bit more comfortable. What do you guys think?
Well, thanks for the introduction, man. Really great. This is actually the first time that we're speaking. We've been mutuals on X for a little while now. but those
Yeah.
indicators look great. So it's cool to see. It's cool to see you building some stuff. You know, I really I appreciate that. Like it's great to not only have like your own systems, but be able to custom build your own metrics just to kind of keep yourself on the right side of the trade.
Yeah.
You know, and you brought up the Bitcoin gold pair, which I was actually focusing on a bit this morning. We have a pre-market call that we do with our community every single morning right around the New York Open.
Yeah.
We were talking and looking at that Bitcoin gold pair, and it seems like in order for Bitcoin to really move higher, we're going to have to see something give with gold, where at least from my observations, it's a little bit more rare to see gold ripping like this and to see Bitcoin kind of ripping at the same time. Seems like usually Bitcoin will, you know, kind of wait for gold to pause, and then excuse me, and then after that we can catch a big rotation. So it looks like we're kind of at range low, give or take, on that pair. But I guess I'm curious. I'll ask you this question point blank. Do you think Bitcoin is like late stage cycle, or do you think that it still has some months of runway and much higher to go?
To be honest with you, there are so many different people saying different things, right? There are a lot of people saying the top's in, and personally, I don't see it. I definitely think, you know, we've got 130K at least to go on Bitcoin, maybe even a bit higher. The problem is that it's a bit like last cycle, right? Everybody was saying well, all of my circle was saying 72K. So we were all kind of holding up for 72K. What happened? We just got snapped at 69, and then, you know, we all just ended up holding the bag. So from what I can see, the chart formation for the distribution has been played out now. We've tagged the levels that we needed to play out, and I think we can go higher. Ultimately, we haven't had things like, you know, the rate cuts, the printing, all of that stuff still needs to kind of come in full effect, if you will. And therefore, I think I'm kind of leaning to this. I wasn't, but I think I'm leaning to the side that we're going to have a bit more of a cycle than expected, and not necessarily, you know, into Q3 of next year, but at least into Q1 of next year. Looking a bit at like the March 2021 kind of situation we had before, where we had crazy pumps around then. But again, nobody knows, nobody has a crystal ball. Otherwise, we would all be obscenely rich, right? But I definitely think there's more to go. In terms of altcoins, I definitely think that, you know, we haven't had the glory yet. I have a chart here actually, and let me try to find it 1 second. We haven't had the glory yet. We have kind of been in a situation where we had some pre-pumps. Where is it? 1 second. Here we go. Here we go. Where we had some pre-pumps, and we haven't really had anything go up as much as 1 second. As much as I would like, right? So if we look at the weekly here, we kind of had some, this is all from this year, right? But before, we kind of had a lot of, we haven't had this aggressive move, in my opinion, as of yet, to the upside. Obviously, we are still kind of below the level from last time. And I think that really, we still need to have that. I mean, let me have a look at, this is the one, I think.
So let me actually have you address this comment here. We get a lot of comments like this on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Institutional cycle, there will be no alt season. Sorry. What do you think about that?
I mean, that doesn't make any sense to me at all, right? So this is the chart I was trying to find from last time. So let me hide some of this stuff. I'm normally on a bigger screen, so this is the last cycle, right? The last cycle top. These are the two markouts that I've done. So this is when Pepe was going crazy last year, and this is the Trump pump, right? As you can kind of see from where we are nowhere near the previous alt season high, nowhere near, right? And realistically, the way that this works, as far as I'm concerned, is that every cycle should supersede the last cycle, right? Well, everybody says this is euphoria or this is euphoria, but I just don't personally see it. My targets are more up here. And we all know how quick that this market can move to one side. So I think, Max, I've been riding this whole thing with you since last year, right? All of the August last year, April this year, all of that stuff. And I think they're doing a great job of shaking these people out. Everybody is tired. I'm tired. Max, I know you're tired at some times, right?
I'm tired, boss. I'm tired.
Everybody's tired. And I think that's the whole point, right? Get people to sell their bags. But also on top of that, get people to be screaming that the top's in, the top's in, the top's in. Give them some kind of manipulative price action to make them think, right, the top is actually in, and then whip it on them on the other side straight to the top. That's personally what I think. I think this is March last year. This is Trump pump. We are nowhere near where we should be, and that just makes me think that alt season is going to be disgustingly aggressive, especially when we had today's crime action on Friday. It's terrible, and I think this is hopefully one last dip, right? I don't know. Let's see. I'm interested to see what you guys think as well. Really,
I've been kind of asking myself if this is going to play out like this is going. You've seen people mention it before, but I'm kind of increasingly asking myself this question. Are we going to see it when we look back in like 10 years? Was this the Bitcoin cycle? And then maybe the next cycle is the ETH cycle. Because I think, we haven't quite seen others make the move that, you would usually expect from a typical alt season. I think a lot of that has to do with Solana, actually. I mean, I'm gonna hate on Solana right now because we had so much token dilution across the space. Like, there were opportunities to make money in alts, just not in the way that a lot of people thought would kind of play out, at least when you look back like, a year, 18 months ago, when Solana really started to perk up. More and more tokens launched. Obviously, that sped up significantly with Pump Fund. And I think a lot of those coins, even though they weren't large enough or weren't part of others, they were still part of, like, I wouldn't even call it an alt season, but I think you guys know what I'm getting at. Like, there was very clearly a speculative mania that occurred on Solana. And I almost wonder, that will probably explain why we haven't seen others pump yet. But I am kind of getting increasingly in the camp that this was the Bitcoin cycle, and that probably like the next few years could be the Ethereum cycle. Famous last words, but I do think that's possible.
Do you think that Solana's top for this cycle, Tommy?
I don't really feel like I have a great read on Sol USD right now, so I'm not going to answer that question. But I do think that Sol ETH, I mean, it looks to me like it's top for a pretty long time. If Sol ETH makes new lows, then I think Sol ETH has topped for like new lows within this recent downtrend. Like, if you break 0.04, then I don't think that you're going to see new highs on Sol ETH for at least another, like, probably 2 years. But if the low holds, then I'm open to maybe like second half of 2026 outperformance again for Sol.
There's been so many other chains as well where I just don't think, like, for example, Base, for example, I just think there's still so much more to come. Maybe I'm just a delusional bull. To be honest with you, probably in the last 6 months, I've become a bit more level-headed in terms of stop being a perma bull, because obviously that just seems to just wreck me every time. I'm actually short on 5 positions right now, and they're printing, so that says it all. But at the same time, I just think there's more to come. I don't know if it's the romantic in me or what, but I just think this can't be done yet. Just from the charts I'm looking at, just the way gold is pumping, just the way rotation is going to happen into crypto, definitely think there's more to go. But again, that's why I'm here. I'm happy to chat it over with you guys, see what you think.
I mean, I think we're all here to a large extent because we think crypto over varying time frames is absolutely going to go higher, and I firmly believe that. I don't really buy the super doomerism of everything's top forever. We can't ever return to these valuations. I'll continue to berate people who say that, but that's not to. Right now I'm just kind of treating the market based on how Bitcoin's going to trade right? I mean, we've kind of been building this compression on Bitcoin for the last few months that we've deviated from a few times. But I mean, more or less between like 107 and 117K. So whichever way we break out of, in my opinion, like you just side with the winner at this point. That's kind of how I'm treating the market at the moment.
I'm just a bit tentative, I think is the word, just kind of watching everything and just one step at a time at the moment. You know, everyone can scream it's going up forever until it doesn't, and then you look like an idiot. So yeah, it's a bit I think it taught me a lesson already this cycle that I thought I learned last cycle, if I'm being honest. And I think you never stop learning in this game, which is a good thing, but it can also be quite painful, to be honest.
Yeah, I think one of the things this cycle has taught me is even if you have a bearish bias, you kind of have to keep some exposure on because a lot of tokens, even if you're right, you know, they can drop 50, 60%. There's a good chance that they're going to end up going higher than where you wanted to kind of de-risk them. And you just have to be willing to eat drawdown on conviction and balance, I think, the downside swings that altcoins have pretty consistently had throughout this market cycle.
Yeah, I agree, Tommy. I mean, I think just looking, like I said earlier, like I just think looking at everything besides crypto, it's like if you were to just look at everything, you would think crypto would be going up here, and it's just not, right? Like, I don't know. I definitely don't think Sol USD is topped, man. Unless Bitcoin is giga topped, I don't think Sol USD is topped.
I'm with you.
You know, like Bitcoin would have to be cycle topped, and that might be where Tommy's coming from a little bit here, but no, I don't know. It still looks like it's kind of in a kind of parabola to me. You know, if it breaks like, you know, 170, like all these charts, if they break their wicks from Friday, it's like, yeah, we're gonna be a little bit cooked in the short term probably. So
I was pretty surprised though at how I mean, Sol, like from on a relative basis, didn't wick nearly as low as a lot of other altcoins. I will say that did surprise me a bit.
Yeah. What did it drop? Like
the structure looks a little bit like, you know, diddle in the middle to me right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, when we talk about the wicks on other altcoins, Sol has kind of, I mean, I guess you could say it's kind of graduated into that Bitcoin and ETH territory where the liquidity is much stronger. Yeah, I mean, even BNB gave you like this just demon wick lower, and Solana was, I mean, strong is a relative term for altcoins. But I think when we're looking at like the rest of the carnage, Sol actually held up pretty well.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I mean, so here's not a rectangle, it's a poly thing. I don't know, dude. ETH really needs to turn around like right now. Like this is pretty ugly, you know.
Yeah.
I think if you go back below here, you're probably going back at least below here.
So we got some on ETH. We got some demand below us. Let me. Can I grab the screen? Is that right?
Yeah. Tommy,
thanks.
Don't even ask.
Tommy. Yeah. I can finally say I'm going to Tommy the screen. 2 seconds. Here we go. Can you guys see? Yeah.
Hang on, let me.
I gotta pull you up.
There.
Okay, cool. So we've got 12-hour demand down here. We have a little bit of like local demand, like only just 2 hour. Really, I think what I would hope to see in this, how do I get rid of this? There we go. What I would like to see is kind of us bounce up there, and then see if we can slice through that. Ultimately, with ETH, we do need to kind of, as you say, get moving. On one of my indicators up here, I mean, RSI and stuff for ETH is still bullish on the weekly and the monthly, but the average over what I've got shown at the moment is like 42. So it's not going to take a lot, I don't think, to actually push up through this. Maybe we just need to take this demand here and then can push up. But to be honest with you, ETH's got this thing where it just goes, and when you least expect it, maybe not when you least expect it, but like, you know, a lot of people are sidelined a lot of the time when ETH does these parabolic moves. And I think that, you know, everybody's kind of waiting for it to happen. But when we were sub 2K, everybody was saying it's over, the same thing. And like, I pretty much refuse to believe that ETH is not going to go above 6-7K this cycle. Like, it's done almost nothing until it's done everything. And personally, I just think, you know, I just think that we've just got to hold on a bit more. Like I keep saying to the guys in my Discord, realistically, we've waited this long. What's another couple of weeks or whatever? But you know, I definitely think that we're going higher on it. Like I said, we were talking about gold and stuff like that, and realistically, you know, if you look at metals, I know Jackus has been talking about metals a lot on X. You know, some of these have just gone crazy. Obviously, everybody knows that gold's gone crazy, but at the same time, you know, it's absolutely red hot up here. But not even just gold, you've got palladium that's gone absolutely crazy, silver's gone absolutely crazy, platinum's gone absolutely crazy. I think zinc right now is pretty much ready to start heating up as well. And all of this is just going to be some sort of rotation. And I think crypto lagging is just, you know, it's not ideal for us, but ultimately when crypto goes, it goes. And I think that, you know, we're going to catch a monster rotation at some point. That's what I'm hoping anyway.
I like it.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just said I liked it. It's a nice cook session.
Thank you. Thanks for putting the metals on my radar. It's been very profitable in the last couple of months.
Indeed.
Metals, you say. Yeah.
When I look at ETH Bitcoin, we are kind of trading back into that like pre-dump level. I think that is structurally and contextually significant for altcoins.
Pre-dump level. Oh, where, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retesting the origin of the move.
Yeah. Honestly, let's see. What, like this? Like here?
Or really more like a little higher. But I mean, it's all kind of the same region, more or less. Like it's previous supply that you want to see flipped into demand.
I was just checking my watch list, and it truly be like that.
It's painful, right? It's unless you're in the stocks, it's painful, right?
If you joined the emerging industry for the outsized returns, you just didn't know it was going to be to the downside, you know.
And I got a friend that, I mean, he's pretty like well known on CT, but like he hasn't been trading crypto at all for like the last 6 months. He's just been trading small caps and he's been cleaning up. But like every day I go into the chat and I see some brand new ticker that I've literally never even heard of. And you wonder about like token dilution in crypto. There are so many charts and stocks that like just exist. And yeah, I mean, I had no clue they were even companies. But they're performing, right? Somehow they're performing.
Well, I don't know. Performance versus like they catch a desperate rotation because everybody's just chasing the hot ball of money. You know, I mean, yeah, maybe some of it performs, but
small cap index.
What's that?
In the small cap index? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't even know if they're in the small cap index, man. They're like so obscure.
Well, they have the opposite issue in equities that we do in crypto, right? Since the .com bubble, it's actually become harder to IPO rather than easier. So they benefit a lot more from a lot less money than they have the opposite problem of pollution, is what I'm trying to say, which is interesting. And I wish we could do that, but yeah, that's why playing individuals is usually the move over playing the IWM outright because there's a bunch of laggards. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a hot ball of money still, but I just wanted to point that out.
One thing that Nerdumon pointed out was that the market is definitely not in euphoria. I would say like the market is suicidal. Obviously, the situation is going to be different for Bitcoin maxis. And I joked about it, but there's been people who killed themselves, right, last Friday, and lots of people lost their entire account. So this is definitely not the euphoria phase, not the hope phase, not the optimism phase. This is full depression and suicidal.
And I don't know if it's distasteful to say this, but not people killing themselves, obviously, but the way that happened last week, it just makes me so much more bullish, because it's just, you know, like I said, it's the shakeout of all shakeouts, right? Like, it was historic. It's the fact it was historic, and therefore it's like, you know, if everything gets wiped, like I said, you reset the board. It's the perfect opportunity to breakneck rocket straight up. I don't know. I just feel like there's more to come. I feel like I haven't held on to this roller coaster for all this time, not to be properly rewarded, if I'm being honest. But maybe that's just me being delusional.
No, I agree with you. I mean, the event that we saw on Friday was like, I mean, it was like literally the worst dump I've ever seen. I've been watching this market every day for, you know, over half a decade. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that, where certain altcoins just, and it was a perfect storm of like negative sentiment, right? Where, you know, it's like finally Q4, which we know is seasonally like a bullish time for crypto, specifically altcoins, after months and months and months of pain. And then literally 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks into like what is supposed to be the most bullish quarter for crypto, we get the worst altcoin massacre that we've ever had from a notional perspective. And I think that for a lot of people, no pun intended, was literally like the death blow, right? I mean, that was like the dagger. That was it. Like, anybody that was left kind of got carted out, either like forcefully they got liquidated, or, you know, like they've just kind of given up, you know, and for good reason. I mean, what kind of psychopath stays optimistic about anything after an event like that? You know, I mean, horrific, right? So, you know, I look at everything that's going on and I just say, you know, price is the most important metric for most people, and for good reason. But I think a lot of people get lost in critically evaluating the true state of the market based on the current pricing. Now, that's a lot of words to basically just say, like, I think people care way too much about the current price and less about the conditions. And if something hasn't pumped or isn't, you know, moving how it quote unquote should immediately, I think that, you know, they're very quick to just get negative on it and kind of give up. But I think if you look at the whole picture and you say, like, all right, US small caps look really good. We are 2 weeks into what is seasonally the best quarter to be invested in crypto. We typically get some sort of Q4 shakeout. You know, they pump it off the open, then they dump it below the open, and then they pick a direction heading into the second half of the quarter. I think that if you kind of paint the full picture, you say there's still a lot of reasons to be optimistic that this market is going to bounce back in a big way, right? Unless this cycle is completely different and it's just a cooked asset class, because I find it incredibly difficult to imagine US small caps moving higher in price discovery and crypto doesn't follow suit at all. We've never seen that before. I won't say it's impossible, because as we've been shown, anything is possible as long as Binance is making markets, you know, and things can go down 70% in 5 minutes. But it's like, I really think there's still a very good chance that this quarter is salvageable despite what happened. And I'll tell you this too. Last cycle, I remember distinctively, the biggest pumps were preceded by the biggest flash dumps. So I'm looking at all this going, you know what? If US small caps stick the landing and they don't fail this breakout on a weekly time frame, I really think there's a good chance that we will look back on this early Q4 dump and say, that was crazy. I can't believe I survived that. Look at where the market's at now, and we may even look back and laugh. No one's laughing right now. Certainly not me, but I do really think that there's a chance that that happens.
I was having a conversation about 3 days ago, and we were just saying how obviously this isn't the first cycle of crypto cycle, second, and people, there's more and more people that are more aware of, how things should move. I can't remember exactly what month it was, but there was, I think, all over CT, there was a ETH outperformance grid, and it was like next month is supposed to be the most bullish month for ETH, and it just was flat, right? I think the people that are moving markets and stuff like that, I definitely think there's a, and again, might just be my conspiracy mind, but I feel like there is a element of having to keep people on their toes, and people have got accustomed to a certain way of the markets moving, certain seasonality, stuff like that. I don't necessarily think it's to do with Bitcoin halving and all of that stuff that happened before necessarily. It might be something to do with it, but I definitely think that more people are getting clued up. I mean, I'm one of them, right? I round trip last cycle, and this cycle I've learned how to trade, how to chart, how to build indicators, how to do all of this stuff, because I don't want to do it again. And there's a lot of people that are like that. They spent a lot of time in the bear market learning how to do this and how to do that and what happened in the last 2 cycles. And it's not a given that it's all going to follow the same playbook. It actually makes sense to me that it's slightly off, because that's going to, catch people off guard, and get people super tired and wipe them out before the good times happen. I don't know.
So it really seems like you're of the opinion that this is just like the most manufactured shakeout of all time before we see a reflexive move to the upside for all coins in general.
I'm buying. Put it that way. You see,
you're buying.
My alerts just go. Yeah, you saw my alerts just go up. I'm buying. So I definitely think there's more room. Specific coins. I mean, I like memes. I like memes, and I trade, commodities and stuff like that as well. A few stocks, mainly miners, because they're kind of correlated. But I definitely think that there are some great deals on the table right now, and I don't think that. Famous last words, but I don't necessarily think that some of the coins that I'm buying can go much lower. I've said that probably for the last year. But
lower is zero.
Zero is low. So yeah, maybe lower. Yeah. But I definitely think just looking at the charts, looking at chart structures, looking at, demand zones that are being mitigated on the way down, I definitely think there's some good deals out there. And yeah, I think I hope it's going to pay off. And I can't see us having last Friday for no reason in terms of to catch people off guard. To be honest with you, like it's, I'm not going to have a meeting with China. I might have a meeting with China. Oh, I'm going to have a meeting with China. It's like, what? I don't know.
Well, I agree with you. I'm still certainly optimistic that all this time in the market, sticking with good plays, I am optimistic it will pay off as well. And the cycle, I think the biggest, the biggest issue with this cycle is how long it's taken, right? I mean, it is like, it kind of tricked us out in one way, where we made a Bitcoin all-time high before the halving, and we saw kind of like a fractured alt season, like Pepe ripped, 10x in a month, kind of around that time. ETH actually was looking pretty good at the time, but then obviously went through like an 18-month horrific correction. But it's been a very kind of fractured market where like it's been really, really difficult. Like a lot of fake outs, a lot of traps. There's never been more, headline risk than right now. I mean, there was a period of time when I was on X just like trolling our own news feed where like something incredibly bullish would get announced and I'd be like, we're about to nuke after this. And then we'd literally nuke after this. Like no amount of good news would impact the market in a positive way. And it just like didn't really, like 2 + 2 = dolphin for a lot of this cycle. It just like didn't make sense. But I do think it's all going to be worth it. I agree.
So, the other thing, just quickly, was something that I've had to learn is that crypto Twitter is my leading indicator, right? So, for example, everyone was October, and that's just making me think, no, this is not going to be October. When everyone thinks it's toast and they're hanging up their boots, I think that's the time to be bullish, to be honest. Because the market's not going to do what everyone thinks it's going to do, in my opinion.
I have a big problem with that because with crypto, like, I understand the logic, but I don't think it works pretty much anymore. It worked in the past when crypto Twitter was very niche and tiny. Nowadays, there are so many accounts, even AI accounts as well, and so trying to capture the sentiment based on your feed, unless you have like some gigafades right in your watch list, then it's really tough to derive the sentiment from it, because you can look on usually what works though, however, maybe to some degree, is like the For You page, right? But it kind of only works at the extremes. So it's really like I'm not saying I'm ignoring it, but just using it as a very tiny confluence of what I think.
Yeah, to be honest, I trade the chart, right? So I just look at what the chart's telling me, and then that is obviously my lead indicator. But just so many times you see doom all over it. We saw it with ETH, right? Everyone was saying ETH is dead, ETH is toast, blah blah, and then it just broke necks, So yeah, I take a sprinkle of it definitely into account, because not everybody's right. But then again, maybe I just need to clear up my feed a little bit.
I've got a couple gigafades that I follow that I keep secret. I'm not in my active trading mode right now. I haven't been for a long time, which maybe hasn't been the best thing. I've gone through kind of phases of like I'm very active versus like I'm just kind of holding and waiting. And I've been holding some of these bags for a long time because I didn't think it would take quite this long to see the alts perk up. So I probably could have done much better actively trading. I've got some bots that run for me 24/7 that have been doing pretty well, so I just kind of let those things cook and slowly monitor them. But I think that I do think we will see like a buy and hold environment this cycle for altcoins, where you will be able to just like hold altcoins and not have to like be focused on actively trading them and looking for traps like every 24 hours. I think that will come, because something that, and this is not uniquely characteristic to crypto, something that we've seen every cycle for equities, foreign and domestic here in the US, is you see large cap stocks, kind of like the safety stocks, lead early cycle, right? Early post correction. And then what you see is you see companies that are basically in bankruptcy court start ripping for no reason, right? The worthless dog shit gets, it ultimately gets bid. So it's like, it's not something that's like unique to crypto, this idea of like vaporware getting bid or altcoins getting bid or beta getting bid, whatever you want to call it. This is something that as long as markets have existed, froth has existed right with them, right? Whether you're trading poop coin or you're trading like Carvana, like some random, company that's struggling. I actually don't even, they were struggling a few years ago. I have no idea if they still are or not, but you get the point. Okay. You get the point. Oh, looks like they're actually oh my goodness. No way. No way.
You should have bought that.
I think the part
dude, I just remember Will talking about Carvana down there.
Right.
They were in like chapter 9 down there or something like that. And he's like, I like it.
I love it. Only a 5,000% move.
Kind of looks like Soul.
Well, either way, maybe Carvana's not the best example anymore. I was kind of thinking from memory like a few years back, but either way, it is not a unique concept to crypto to have beta catch a bid, right? And I think it would be a very strange phenomenon almost to just see like Bitcoin rip and then like BNB and Sol kind of have done well this cycle objectively, and then like a few other coins caught spurts, but not like sustained price action. and to not see any beta, like smaller cap stuff outside the top 20, 30, 40, 50 by market cap, catch a big rotation this cycle. And Tucker, could you pull up others maybe? So this is just everything outside the top 10. This isn't even like outside the top 50, right? So I mean, this is still got some large cap stuff in it for sure. And I think it would be very unique for us to not see this chart really do anything, do nothing. That would be kind of cyclically inconsistent with not just previous crypto cycles, but cyclically inconsistent with market cycles in general, right? Across multiple asset classes, anything, I mean, think about even like a real estate cycle, right? Bubbles with shit properties even occur in real estate cycles because interest rates go from high to low. Then people have a ton of cash. Then it becomes, a seller's market because everybody's willing to overpay for crappy properties. And you start seeing, 100-year-old duplexes with mold and asbestos and a caved in roof and a bench press in the driveway trading at a 3.5 cap, right? So you see shit properties bid because you get to the end of a cycle. That's what we saw in 2021, 2022 when interest rates were negative, right? So it's like, this is not something that is, cyclically unique to crypto. It's just cycles of assets in general. So for that reason, I still think that there is plenty of promise in holding a chart that looks like this because we haven't had froth. We haven't had really anything happen. Like this has just been, if you remove that Trump pump from the chart, and you say, well, that was, it was a real pump, but Trump got elected. We saw like 2 weeks of craziness and then nothing. We've just been doing nothing forever. We've just been doing nothing. It's been horrific. There you go. So anyways, I'm going to end my rant there, but like, I don't know if I'm delusional, then so be it. But I think it'd be cyclically inconsistent to see some, a chart like this not make a move at some point. So
they say 90% dumps, 10% pumps, but it's been more like 99% dumps and 1% pumps, right?
Yeah,
literally.
It has been.
I think a big part of it is, we obviously don't have the financial conditions that have been as easy as post 2020 were. So we haven't been able to have a bubble in literally every portion of the market at the same time, right? I mean, we're seeing small caps and equities pop off right now, but to me, that's largely a result of rotation out of large cap tech stocks, which kind of drove the bubble. Bitcoin, as we know, drove the bubble for crypto. So we haven't quite seen, maybe we just haven't seen the rotation yet, but I really think that's what it is, right? For altcoins is that we don't have as much money sloshing around in the system. So the bubble isn't everything all at once. It's kind of still like hot ball of money jumping around to specific asset classes.
I agree. We saw the same kind of thing with the AI run, right? And then to something else and then to something else. Yeah, it's just frustrating, really, because, like I say, everyone's just waiting on this proper alt season. Well, I feel like we've had a taste of euphoria. I was in Pepe at like 250 mil, so I was really happy last year. But again, I just don't think we've had proper alt season weeks and weeks and weeks of green. And I still think it's coming. Might have to eat those words at some point, but I definitely do think it's coming still.
I mean, what if we just get kind of what I discussed earlier on the stream, where we get an ETH cycle, right? And I don't know if like Solana altcoins are pumping in that scenario, but like imagine what is occurring if you're having an ETH cycle where ETH Bitcoin actually maintains like a long-term uptrend against Bitcoin. I don't think that's a scenario that most people have really discussed, right? Most people are like, oh, well, ETH Bitcoin is going to blow off and then that's the cycle top, because that's typically what we've usually seen. But what about a multi-year uptrend on ETH BTC and a cycle driven by ETH and DeFi adoption rather than Bitcoin?
Yeah, interesting.
I think that scenario makes a lot of sense to me, and I kind of have it's maybe a bit of a tinfoil hat for a particular chart that would align with that. Where actually, let me just steal the screen for a second.
Tommy it.
Yeah, I'm Tommying it. So this is if we kind of think of it as like, once TradFi entered our market, things just changed. Things changed
for the better, right?
This is the ETH BTC chart.
Right?
What's that?
For the better, right?
Nah.
It changed for the better, right?
No, it's been fucking terrible. But looking at this chart, this is the ETH BTC, but CME chart. So like as soon as ETH and Bitcoin were both trading on CME futures, this is the chart. So if you look at this, in terms of like a range, right? You had, your opening tick was right here. It's this red line. Range high, mid-range, ton of interaction on the mid-range, range low. We deviated down here. We just reclaimed the range on this ETH BTC CME chart right here. So when I look at this, I say to myself, okay, Tommy was mentioning the Bitcoin cycle. And now what if we're going to have like the ETH cycle, where TradFi just hits the hot ball of money on like a multi-year basis. And we're just kind of wrapping up the Bitcoin cycle, which the reclaim of this range might indicate. And maybe we are heading into that ETH cycle. Personally, I'd prefer a 6-month blow off, but I don't know. Whatever. I just want ETH and price discovery, however long it lasts, man. I just can't believe they've made us wait this long on ETH. It's crazy. Look at this. I'm like, just send it already. Just send it. I look at this, man, and it's like, how you gonna do this to us? Just Tom Lee, help us. Do something, Tom. Just push it.
I find if we have an extended cycle like that, I actually find that kind of scary. I'll tell you why I find it scary. I find it scary because I cannot even fathom thinking that I have held for 2 years just the mid curve and sell. Jack has just put it out there on X a lot, that a lot of people are going to sell early on this, it's that balance, right? Sell early or round trip. It's just so, after all of this time holding, studying, learning for them to change the goalposts, and then you just be stuck either holding your bag or just watch everything just absolutely rocket and you're sidelined. It's
everyone is in full PTSD.
Yeah, everyone's already got it, man.
The main reason I kind of say that, we can kind of think about just like very basic level supply and demand dynamics. For one, we've talked about this before. Bitcoin and ETH are becoming fundamentally different assets, and the bidders who are buying them, for the most part, are very, very different. Yep. But I just think in general, because it's been a Bitcoin cycle, I think you could argue that most of the people who are going to bid Bitcoin are either already doing it or already have, at least under the current narrative that Bitcoin has as it stands. Whereas ETH, I think you have so much more activity that's going to come on to the chain and force bidding of ETH that we can't even really quantify that eventual buying pressure on price yet. But for me, it's like, it's way easier for me to pinpoint who the next buyers of ETH are over the next few years versus who the next buyers of Bitcoin are. I just think for that reason, you're probably going to see ETH Bitcoin in a multi-year uptrend from here.
The next buyers of Bitcoins are central banks.
No, Jack, they're the guys at 90K. They're the guys buying at 90K. Yeah, no, I agree.
But yeah, Wall Street's gonna in my opinion, that's where the finance is heading, is towards the tokenization and towards the adoption of like the EC ecosystem. I know it's been said a lot, and perhaps it was a mid curve at some point, but I do believe that shifted to the right and left curve right now, while people still think it's a mid curve. I don't think it was possible with the prior administration, and it wasn't possible until the approval of the current administration. I think that changed the landscape. So it's more about the time, and that time is really messing people up because they still think that the 4-year cycle is happening this month. So it's kind of, yeah, as we discussed, PTSD on both sides. You said it well, Nermont. It's like people have PTSD if they don't get out now, that it's gonna bear market for the next many years, and at the same time, if they sell, then it's just going to rip to the upside.
I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it, right? That's the truth.
So many people in the chat have told me over years, they're like, we need Max to sell before we can go up. And I said, well, then you're never going up. I'll I just take one for the team and just start selling everything so that everyone can get rich. Is that really what it's going to take? Is the market waiting on me?
I don't know about that, Max. I don't know.
All right, then I'll keep holding.
Well, it has, like, everything that could have happened. So I suppose here the last thing, but it's never going to happen, so we will never know.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm literally that meme, man. Like, I am like Randy Marsh, where he's like, I didn't hear no bell. Like I'm walking Randy. That's me.
Then we are fucked.
Randy. That is such a good episode, though, of South Park. If you guys know what episode that's from,
Yeah,
the Little League, the Little League baseball episode, where none of them want to play over the summer, but their parents keep forcing them. Eventually, Randy's fighting gets their team disqualified, and so they're all like euphoric that they don't have to spend the rest of the summer playing baseball. God, it's so good.
I think we can hold here, guys. I know it looks grim, but I think it's possible. Maybe 38.20, but I think we could hold here. Maybe just maybe.
Max. We will never pump again.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Cycle top is in. Excuse me. Excuse me.
So that that demand that I got, the top level of that demand is 38.75. So it's about kind of same region.
Let me see here. Moving averages, yearly. Turn off the quarterly because we already have the monthly. Got some decent levels around here. I don't know, man. It'd just be nice to get some pumpage in these markets, It's just I've been saying this for so long, but it's like what they do is like they give you like 2 weeks of pretty good price action, and then it's just over for like 9 months. It just takes so long, which is a bummer.
99%, 1%, right?
Yeah.
It's really, like, to me, it seems that it's gonna change in the future. But what we saw was really about like absolutely taking out every retail guy that was involved in crypto until this very moment. Like, basically make OG Bitcoiners sell to the ETFs, to the big guys. Make every altcoin guy absolutely sell all his bags. And if they didn't do it by now, well, initiate the leverage wipeout that we've never seen before, right? And so, like, yeah, there's definitely some survivors after this, but most have been gone. And I heard, like, I had message. You guys probably do not remember this, but there's been people who've been around since like 2017 or something, and even last year already they said I'm out. Like I was like, there was a guy, I do not know if you remember him, and he said, "Hey, I was a LARP. I apologize. I got totally wrecked, and I'm totally quitting this." And this was the sentiment already a year ago.
Yeah, well, what just happened definitely kind of solidifies that mindset. I mean, a lot of people, there's some really good traders that I followed for a while, guys that, you know, maybe have a combination of spot and then also perps. And I mean, some of them just got completely carted out. It was a bit sad to see, like, some guys that I would say are like really good traders or just have like a pretty solid view of the market. And I know this maybe doesn't help a lot of you guys, but like, if you didn't get liquidated and like you're still in this market fighting another day, like, you actually are doing better than the majority. You know, like, a lot of people literally lost everything, like, completely. So
I'm surprised at how many people said that they lost everything and they were just all in leverage as well. I'm a bit like, that's crazy, man. You gotta you gotta have
and I think
yeah,
that's something we talked about on the
it's
something. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Maybe there's a lag or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lag going on. But anyways, you know, a lot of people, I think it became kind of clear that a lot of people actually didn't have portfolios. They had Tether that was being used to collateralize paper positions, and they were calling that like their portfolio, you know, or like it's not actually a portfolio, right? So I think spot and chill is I mean, what a lot of people were doing, man, is like they even just had 2x leverage on the board, or less, 1.5x, and still got carted out, you know. And to be fair, I don't think that even should have been possible. Like, I think that was on a certain exchange that caused that to happen. But yeah, I mean, I think spot and chill, like, just invest in stuff that trades with the broader market. And if we ever get an alt season, it will pump, you know?
It definitely shouldn't be possible within a single hourly candle. That's for sure. Like, if you're gonna get a big bear market and you're gonna get minus 75%, then yeah, that's totally fine. It's, you know, if it gets dragged out over a year, you can make decisions along the way, but not within a single hour. When even people with stop losses, they had them jumped over. That's not good.
And Jackus, how about the fact that you couldn't even log on and like trade during that time? You know, like you couldn't even trade. It was oh, we lost our guest. Oh, there you go. He's back. You know, and you couldn't even trade. Like, you know, you were seeing people on X being like, I'm trying to get on to Binance to either manage my position or like buy or do something. And like, they couldn't do anything, you know? All you could do was get liquidated.
I was super lucky. I had some. Oh, sorry, go on, Jackers.
No, I was just joking. Go on.
I was just saying I was super lucky. I had some really low stink bids on dupe on Soul Coins, and they managed to get filled. I have no idea how. But yeah, I tried to load some fiat onto Kraken, and everything just stopped working, right? Which again just tells me that something fishy was going on.
Totally natural price action. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Did you guys see what happened with Backpack Exchange?
Yes. No. Was that the one where someone deposited more money? Yes. And they took it? Yeah.
They were like, actually, you're in debt to us. Thank you for the money.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I'd be so mad.
If you guys don't know what Max and I are referencing, Backpack Exchange had somebody deposit some additional Solana after they were trying to top off their margin or like add to their account after they were liquidated. and Backpack said that they actually owed a debt because of where they got liquidated, and so they took the collateral, and the account was basically still zeroed. And the funniest part is that they gave to the people affected by this awful mistake, they gave KFC vouchers.
I saw that.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
And if you knew, Tommy, in Czech, just in recent months, KFC had a big scandal in which they were selling like a meat that was like out of the date, like by a long time.
Oh,
and
no.
what they did is that it was really stinky. They just washed it over, used bunch of seasoning, and then just sold it. And it was a big scandal until like some insider came out.
Being the early onerous chefs that they were, they just made chicken stew.
Yeah.
Big Short reference. I got it, Tommy.
I'm glad somebody did.
I got it. Everyone else is sleeping. I got it. That was a good one. You guys need to be better. I was all over that one.
True.
Wake up, guys.
Like,
I was looking for Wavi's KFC tweet. It was so funny. I can't find it though.
Did anybody get any money from BNB from Binance today?
No.
They're bribed to help everyone forget about what happened.
Yeah, I was on holiday, so I did no Binance trading, but a few people in my Discord got like $300.
Oh, nice.
I mean, yeah, I'll take it, I suppose.
That's a nice little stimmy. I didn't get anything.
No.
Did you guys see liquidated for 20 mil on Binance perps and got a 56-cent tethered voucher?
56?
56-cent voucher for USDT after getting liquidated for 20 mil.
Oh no.
Wow.
Oh no.
Oof.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty bad ones. I know KuCoin, some guy got liquidated for 300K, even though apparently like the position was fully collateralized through his margin account. He never should have been liquidated. And then they gave him a $50,000 voucher to use on their exchange. So it's not even real money that he got back.
Just credits.
Yeah, it's just our industry, man. I think I said this earlier this week, but what this really should show you is that we have an industry that sells risk to market participants through perps and shit coins with zero intention of redeeming them. Should shit hit the fan, you have to kind of have that prior, I think. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it, man. Like, how much money did these exchanges make with the 20 billion in liquidations that occurred in an hour, right? I mean,
yeah,
they don't give a shit, man. They hope people get liquidated. Like, I don't think they want people to lose all their money because then they don't have any money to keep gambling. But it's like, do you think that these exchanges were really that? Like, how much money did Binance make?
Oh my God.
On
I
those
don't
wicks?
know.
Because here's the thing, I think they made
really
a lot of money on those liquidations, and now they're paying out a few $100 million to just kind of be like, all right, everyone, like, leave us the fuck alone. But
yeah,
Could be worse. Could be KFC vouchers. At least it's actual money, right?
I'm more of a Chick-fil-A guy myself. But
You just slandered Chick-fil-A yesterday.
No. Hang on. You are lying, and I will not let this stand. I slandered the individual who decided that Chick-fil-A for breakfast was good. Okay. Chick-fil-A for lunch and dinner is fine. I slandered a personal decision, not the establishment, to be clear.
Max slandered Chick-fil-A breakfast.
that's what I heard.
I can live with that. I did slander. I slandered more so, yes, the breakfast, but the onus is on the individual who consumes the breakfast, not them for providing breakfast. Okay.
But Max, do you like normal Chick-fil-A over Chick-fil-A breakfast?
Have
I've
you
never had
Chick-fil-A
breakfast because
there it is. There it is.
I've never had Chick-fil-A breakfast because I'm not going to start my day off with greasy fried food. That's not how you start your day.
No, you can get breakfast until 10:30. You can start your day at 7. Some fruit or whatever you like to have.
Like, do I want to pay $12 for a bagel, which albeit is delicious, or do I want to pay like $15 for 2 chicken biscuits and some hash browns?
The chicken biscuits, dude. Come on.
Meanwhile, Jackus and I have no idea what you're talking about because we're Europeans.
The European mind cannot comprehend the deliciousness of Chick-fil-A.
Although I did go to a Raising Cane's for the first time like 3 weeks ago when I was in Miami, and had a DJ in there. I thought that was very American. It was all right, but
I like Raising Cane's. It's just a little bit greasy. It hurts my stomach after, but
you need to toughen up, Tommy. You need to toughen up. So soft. Come on.
Did you just say that at the same time, Max?
What?
I was also telling him he needed to toughen up.
Oh, I'm just reading the market check script. Are you looking at yours too?
Oh, the market check script.
Yeah. The producer sent it over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Typical American.
Max, when's Pepe gonna pump? That's the question I need to know. When's Pepe gonna pump, Max?
Dude, I nailed the initial
date.
pump in 2023, and I've kind of just been holding my bags ever since. So I've been calling for a pump every day since I took an entry, and it worked out for me right away. So I wouldn't look to me to really guide you on Pepe besides being a cheerleader. But with that said, I mean, I'm not even going to look at the Binance chart, man. That wick is not even, I'm not acknowledging that as real. But if we look at the on-chain chart, doesn't have that wick. You know, I think this is going to be your, let me remove this stuff here. I mean, I think the levels are pretty clear, right? I wasn't expecting / hoping for this, but obviously my entry is like down here, so it just doesn't, you know, I'm just a cheerleader at this point. But, you know, at this point, you know, the pump will happen once you clear this cluster, this red box, and you've got like every significant rolling VWAP at this level between your 6-month and your, you know, your 30-day. So, you know, it's going to just really be a matter of more or less engulfing this giant red candle right here. Like, we'll even remove this when you can clear here. We'll do it this way. When you can clear this level and engulf the sell-off candle, I think the pump probably begins pretty quickly after that. Kind of like when you engulfed this sell-off candle, right? You can see this over here. Kind of trap door, chop, 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 engulf the sell candle. And, you know, you had like a, from low to high, this is like a 350% move. So I think if you look at this and just kind of assume the same logic of horrible sell-off, if you can engulf the point of origin of this sell-off, I think that's when the rally begins. So I guess I can't give you an exact day or month.
Do you think that, in your opinion, do you think that we have to go back and tag this March, April low, or deviate that? Like the way that I trade, I do a lot of like Wyckoff's kind of stuff. So I'm always looking for like a third lower tap, although that would be super painful.
Are you talking about this right here?
Yeah.
One more sweep of the lows.
Yeah. Just one more. Pain, right?
I'm gonna say no, because I mean we did take like, okay, so let's just look at it on some other exchanges, right? Like let's look at it on you know, Mexi. Like they all had wicks, right? I think it was a result of like, you know, what happened with Binance ultimately. But you know, like we did take out this low, we took out this low, we took out every single low possible. So no, I don't really think we need to, right? I don't think that the on-chain chart needs to do that, because I mean that would more or less require price to not wick, but like settle below on like a daily closing basis below that level, which I think might be a little bit too much. It's possible, right? But then it's kind of like, okay, how much of this price is true, right? Like if we how much of this do we want to consider as like a real wick? This is the 15-minute chart. So on the 15-minute chart, you know, we came all the way down to here, right? So let's zoom back out now. Where'd my line go? Okay, so on the 15-minute chart, we did take out that low, you know, like we got below it. So it's kind of like, did we take it out? I know the wick shouldn't have happened. Like, I think we can all agree that like that wick was way overblown, but there was still quite a bit of price action on a closing basis that did take out that low. This is a 15-minute chart, you know? So I would say that I feel like it's already been accomplished, but after what happened on Friday, I won't rule anything out. You know, I mean, that was just, I mean, it's like, I guess it could happen. I hope it doesn't. I feel like we accomplished way more than we needed to in terms of cleaning up some lows. But yeah, I mean, I think we can recover from here. I think we'll know a lot more. Like when ETH finally resolves this structure, whether it takes another day or week or month and gets above the previous all-time high, goes into price discovery, we're going to know pretty quickly what beta looks like. You know, we are going to know without question, like, are we going to go higher on something like Pepe immediately? Because like, as far as I'm concerned, when ETH gets above, you know, here and starts, you know, moving into price discovery, like right here is where Pepe should be gapping up like 20 or 30%. I can't make any excuses for it at that point. So that's kind of my view, is like it just kind of comes back to ETH.
I'm just having a look. I mean, like you say, everything kind of got tagged just like Bitcoin did last Friday. But for me, I'm not sure if we need to kind of, so for example, on the, let me just do this here. Can I quickly show you?
Sure.
I'm working on my small screen, so bear with me 1 second. And again, this is just kind of thinking out loud more than anything, right? Looking at the MEXC as well. So obviously we had back here, we had some order blocks. I'm just looking at the 4 hour. We had some higher ones as well. Obviously that got tagged here. But my thinking is, where this is such manipulative price behavior, I'm thinking maybe we need to come back down and just organically tag it before we can move back up. I don't know. As you can see from here, hold on, let me move this. No space. You know, we're still actually quite bearish on Pepe, generally speaking. This is a combination of like VWAP, moving averages, and obviously RSI as well. I'll put little bears there just to make it really, really obvious. But we're still looking quite bearish. And I'm actually in a sacrilege. I didn't want to say it, but I'm actually in a Pepe short right now. Just kind of down to this kind of, oh, there we go. Okay, that makes me feel, that makes me feel a lot better. But I just, on all of these, although we tagged, it's not organic price behavior, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So I feel like some of these levels we still actually need to tag organically before we can move back up. Again, I just wanted to know what you guys think about that, whether you think when something like this happens, I kind of ignore the wick like as much as possible, because I just think, you know, it's like a flash sale, right? It's not really like price actually went there properly, right? So I think we need to go down a bit before we go up, but I don't necessarily think we need to go to a lower. 1 second. Sorry, small screen. I don't think we need to go lower than here. I think we could just kind of tag this level, pick everything up, and then go from there. What do you think?
That would not surprise me one bit. As much as I want it to just go like up only, it would not surprise me to see that. I think the tough part is just kind of identifying like how deep it really needs to go. Like, what do we view as like the true low, excluding the scam wick that occurred? But yeah, it wouldn't surprise. And that's actually more typical to see after a dump like that is, you know, quick buyback, the books fill back up, and then we kind of come back and either sweep some lows or like take one more deep dive. The only thing that throws me off is the magnitude of this dump was so outrageous. And I also think there was some crime and scammery involved, where I say to myself, like, if there ever was a time for like a different type of recovery, it would be after the most egregious altcoin rugging that we've ever seen in crypto. So it's a tough one. I think for me, the most clarity I get is looking at something like Bitcoin and ETH. And I say to myself, is ETH going to take out its wick? If ETH goes down and takes out its wick, or even puts in a deep dive back down to like 3,500, maybe it doesn't actually take out the Pico low of the wick. If ETH does that, then absolutely Pepe is going to do something like that. So I think the value is just going to be in watching what majors do. If ETH starts to roll over here and, loses 3,900, yeah, you probably take another dive down and backfill some of that wick. But on the contrary, if ETH can reclaim, 4,100, probably just keep drifting higher, honestly. So it's weird. We're at a fork in the road here. We are definitely at a fork in the road.
Decision time soon. Volatility incoming. It's Q4. I mean, this is what we wanted, right? I mean, this is much better than ultimately the summer chop. I know we had ETH pumping during the summer, but that was really kind of like the only thing that happened. I guess outside of like a few on-chain. But thank you guys for tuning in to Market Check today. I think that's a good spot for us to be ending the show. Make sure to give Nerdmond a follow on X. His account is exactly what the username is on StreamYard, so making it very easy for you guys to find him. Glad we had him on, though, today. And if you enjoyed Market Check today, if you've enjoyed some of the guests that we've had on here over the last 2 weeks, we did say that we were going to have more guests on the stream. But if you enjoyed Market Check today, or really any day over the last 2 weeks, a reminder that we are live Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Fridays. Make sure to catch us on those days with a typical start time around 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, also make sure to tune in for Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. He's been doing a great job, not just with those shows, but also with the market. So make sure to finish up your day with those spaces, hosted through X and the Because Bitcoin account, as well as Wabi's personal account. Lastly, guys, if you're looking for something that can give you an edge in these markets, whether that is futures trading, whether that is on-chain, we have some products for you to be able to do so. I mean, Max has mentioned how he's been in some shorts. That is largely through the signals that we give through the Volume Fusion Pro. So if you want access to some of those signals, trading some of your favorite tickers like Solana, Pepe, and Doge, all you have to do is sign up for Blowfin using our referral link, and you'll be given access to these signals and to this Discord. But also make sure to check out the BB Terminal, guys, because if you believe that this market is getting ready to trend aggressively higher, as it is Q4, and that is exactly what has happened really over the last few years, as we've gotten an early Q4, a late Q3 washout, and the market began to trend higher. And you want an edge for on-chain markets, check out the BB Terminal, guys. We rolled out our DGen page a few months ago. The terminal has been rapidly improving every single day and becoming the best possible product on the market. Shout out to our dev, Ed, who has absolutely been kicking ass from the development side. But yeah, if you're looking for something that can help you just kind of sort through on-chain markets and really conquer them, 10 out of 10 would recommend the BB Terminal. But that's it from us, guys. We hope you enjoyed the stream today. We'll be back tomorrow for another episode of Market Check. But until then, thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. And of course, stay safe.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio. Monitor the markets. Stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal,